Hi, this is Josie from Funky Needlework. Today I'm going to do a quick demo on how to use the Clever Shells and Turrets ruler set. So I'll crack on because there's loads of different ways you can do this. So to get, this is one of the results. If I lean to the side, you can see the result at the back here as well. Lots of different ways of using this ruler set. You can also use it to make a wreath. But I've already done a demo on that, so if you refer back to the old videos on Facebook, then you'll see that one. So to start off with, I'm going to do the design that lives in a row. So I've folded my piece of fabric that I'm going to cut, and it's exactly the same width all the way on each pleat as the ruler. And I'm going to put the dotted line on the bottom. I've cut with a small rotary cutter. This is the smallest one I can find. It's 18 millimeters and it's great for getting in curves and around little tight spaces. So if I just cut up here, now there's nothing like live for it to go a little bit awry. Okay, that's great. I'm going to cut up there and then I'm going to cut this way. Take it slowly. And when you're going into a curve, remember to lean out with the rotary cutter. Just say perfect. That's great. Blade away, and I'll put that down, and that will give you a concertinaed piece like this. So so here's some I did earlier, and there are lots of different ways of putting these together. So if I show you some of them, so the first one, so you'll put them offset like this. I have another colourful one here, and another white one. You'll get the full effect like that, and then you can stitch over the edge as you're going down. One of the other things that you can do, another way with this, is to have them like this and like this, and just lay them on top, and you get almost a curved chevron pattern. That's another way of doing it. Now when you do this, you can also use, where's the ruler gone? There it is. So you'll see that it's got two ends. This is the pointy end and the round end. And I'm going to demonstrate what you can do with the other end now with the smaller piece. So, okay. So the same method, folding the pieces of fabric, and I've used the bottom end of the ruler this time. And you'll see that fits along there. And you can do exactly the same thing. So this way you get bumps and bumps and bumps, or you get shells and shells in rows like this. Can you see the effect there? Isn't that fantastic? That one looks like a little row of minions sitting in the cinema. So that's another way of doing it. Now if you want these individually and these pieces individually, it also works individually. And it also works on the smallest size, and I've just got a little piece here that I've demonstrated. Now you might have trouble getting the little rotary cutter into this in the pointy end for this one. So fold it and fold it and fold it, little pin, pair of scissors around the end, and it'll be great, and you get this kind of shape. And that's exactly the same method that I've used there. Okay. So for individual pieces, I've got some of these, one of my little applique packs, cut around the end, lots and lots of times, and then to put them together, I'll show you on the edge of this piece of white fabric. So you need a straight edge to start with, and you put them from the bottom upwards. So pinch it, fold it over and pinch it a little bit like that. And also fold it over and pinch it that way. Now at first you'll be very, very precise with these. Oh, that's a different length. Make sure they're all the same length before you start. Very, very precise with these. And then you'll gradually start and get a bit more adventurous. So you peel that back, pop it in, find the pinch and put it in the middle, peel that one back and put that one in. And you can build them up gradually like that. And you end up, so you push that one up against that one, halfway down, that's right, and stitch them. So pin them in place, and then when you're stitching them, if I bring over the other quilt, it's already done. So what I did was, rather than kind of going round and round and round, I stitch, 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 stitch. It's just a little bit easier to manoeuvre in the sewing machine. So it's sort of up in curves, and if you get bored and you want to come back down to a corner, you can just come down there like that. But you need to stitch in both directions to keep them all in place, but you get that very clever shells appearance on your quilt. Put those to one side. There are so many different ways of doing this, it's wonderful. Right, so I'm going to show you how to get this shape now, which is on the quilt behind me. So, I'll have a pink one. And you don't need very big pieces of fabric for this. You can use up all the small pieces that you've got. Little fold, finger pleat. And you'll see that there's a line on near the top of this as well. Is that tall enough? Yes, it is. And you will cut away from yourself again. If you want to, and you're feeling a bit unsure holding this ruler, you can put the other pieces inside and put a little bit of tape on, and that'll hold them in place, but to be honest, it's fairly sturdy. I'm just going to turn it around a bit so that I can still cut away from myself, because I don't want to be cutting towards myself. Can you hear my rotary cutter squeaking? That's great. There we go. So that's your next shape that you can put on there. And there's one more shape that we haven't done, and this is the folded piece. So this is a long, kind of like a long bauble. So to do this one, I folded and pleated the fabric this way. Whoops. There we go. Like this. And cut around, open it out, and you've got a nice long piece, and that looks kind of like a candle. You can do that, or baubles at Christmas, whatever you want to do with that. What's the other way? There was something else that just occurred to me. Oh, candle. The other actual candle is this one. So I've got this in various stages of assembly here, so that you can see the back of it. And this is done on a piece of stitch and tear. This is the finished, more or less finished article. I haven't stitched over the edges here. But to get this onto the stitch and tear, you stitch on the back, but you actually draw on this side. I know I've gone through these fairly quickly. So I drew round the ruler and then put a dot inside, moved it down, put a dot inside, moved it down. I'll put a dot inside. There we go, and you could just keep going like that all the way down. You get this beautiful pattern all the way down. And then what you do is you put a piece of fabric behind it. So if I did this shape here, put a piece of fabric behind it, stitch on the line, turn it over as we have here, and then with some applique scissors, you would cut around that. I'm going to turn that around a little bit so that you can see. Oh, if I move my hand to this side, you would see better. Oops. And then you can go over the edges with either some black bias or a nice coloured full thread, just a satin stitch all the way around the edge. I think I've shown you all the different ways that I can use it other than the wreath, but that's in another video. So I hope that was useful to you. Thank you very much. Bye.